Well, hello there, my gorgeous little horrorlings. Gather round, gather round. Come on in closely. Mama doesn't bite, unlike some of the creatures in tonight's scary stories. Hit the notification bell and you might just scare them away. This is a long story and admittedly kind of unbelievable, so bear with me. I've had a lot of weird things happen throughout my life. I always chalked it up to naturally being in the wrong place at the wrong time and having bad luck with paranormal stuff. But I also have a kind of thrill-seeking attitude, so that's where this story starts. I know this is going to sound like I'm making it up or like I'm crazy, but I need to know what the heck I saw. I'm sure that some of you will have heard of Stull, Kansas. If not, it's believed to be one of the gateways to hell, as well as being the birthplace of Satan's son, amongst other stuff, like there being cultists or Satan worshippers in the town. This town was only about 3.5 hours' drive from where I lived at the time, and I had been wanting to visit for a while, so one night I got a wild idea and decided to just go with my now ex. We had both done some research and heard about how people in the area can be violent, so we each had a pocket knife on us, as well as a sword in the back seat. It seems over the top, but people have been shot at in the area. Things were already weird while we were driving up there, like I had what I feel was a vision of some kind. Not really relevant to this story, though. The roads would disappear when we got closer to the town, and other vehicles were seemingly trying to drive us off the road. The closer we got to the town, after 2 toll stations and stopping for gas to be sure that we didn't run out, the more creepy it felt. The road would just completely drop off in front of us, and all we could see was the grassy hills and the trees around us. I was the one driving because my ex couldn't drive. There were a few times where other vehicles would get right up behind us to the point where I couldn't see because of the headlights bouncing off the mirrors. The first time we tried to stop, we completely missed the town because literally the only thing you could see from the road was a church, one small house, and a graveyard. It wasn't until we had passed it that I realised that was Stull. And I almost couldn't turn around at an intersection because the truck behind us wouldn't slow down or go around us when I began to brake. We got turned round eventually and got to the cemetery, only to realise that the gate was locked with a "No trespassing" sign posted, so we decided to leave. An important thing to note is that the roads in this area are super curvy and twist a lot. So when we were leaving, we decided, both of us got this gut feeling, to go back. The time was 11:34 when we turned around, about 4 hours after we had first left our house. We took one turn down a dirt road to get back, and I panicked because I swore I saw a kid run out in front of the car. I was driving an old '88 Lincoln, so it was pure steel and would have surely killed any kid with the way he seemingly went under. I didn't feel any bumps, and when I screamed asking where he went, my ex was completely confused. She didn't see anyone at all. She reassured me that I hadn't just hit a child, and sure as heck, When I pulled over, there wasn't anything in the road behind us, and there definitely wasn't anything caught underneath the car. That's not even the weirdest part. I had been keeping track of the turns, the curves, all of the roads because I didn't want to get lost in unfamiliar backwoods area. I knew I had at least 2 more turns before I would be back facing the direction of Stull, especially because this dirt road was straight compared to the curved but consistently southeast road that we had been on. I reached the end of the road and was literally right beside the town. So I go to try and pull up near the cemetery again, but a large truck was behind me and would not slow down at all. Like they almost rammed me when my accelerator just stopped. Literally in the middle of the road, no matter how hard I pushed the gas pedal down. I was looking in the side mirror when my eye caught something and looked up to my left. There was what I would have mistaken for a naked person if it weren't for its arms and hands. This thing was crouched on the shoulder of the road, with its face buried behind its knees like it was trying to hide its face. It was malnourished looking, skinny to the point of appearing to be skin on bone. Its arms were unnatural. From a crouching position, its upper arms were long enough that its forearms rested entirely on the ground beside it. Its hands were abnormally long, with dark nails that looked about like a stiletto press-on nail. Its skin was grey. I could tell that even with the yellow lights from my headlamps. My hair stood on end. My heart felt like it stopped for a moment. I couldn't breathe looking at this thing. I immediately asked my ex if she saw it, but she had been looking behind us at the pickup truck. The truck went around us when I didn't speed up, and that's when I noticed it wasn't a truck. It was a white van with government tags and stickers. You know the kind. Not police stickers, but like county officials. It drove past us, damn near clipping our front bumper when they merged back into our lane. It wasn't until we were back past the town that my accelerator started working again. Thankfully, I was so worried that we'd break down more than 3 hours away from home with almost dead cell phones. We ended up getting back on the interstate to head back towards Wichita when my ex checked the directions to be sure. It was 1:07 a.m., which didn't make sense to either of us because it certainly hadn't been an hour and a half since we last checked the time. We'd only been driving for about another 40 minutes at most. It was at this point I explained to my ex what I had seen, and she didn't know what it could have been. The rest of the trip home is unimportant, but for months after I had nightmares about this thing. To this day, about 3 years later, I still think I see it sometimes. I still have nightmares. I'll still get glances where I swear I can see it in stark contrast to the dark. Its arms were so freakishly long. I tried having my arms rest the way this thing's were, and I just can't. Its upper arms must have been at least 2.5 feet long with how it was positioned. I didn't see its face, which is what my older brother asked when I talked about it. He claimed to have seen something smaller but similar, with red eyes, when he talked to an ex-priest. He said it was some kind of Native American demon, which I don't believe was what I saw. Its skin was light grey like dried cement, Based on how it was hunched over while crouching, I didn't see its height, but can assume it was fairly tall. Whatever it wasn't natural, and it certainly wasn't a person. Does anybody know what it was that I saw? It still messes with me almost 3 years later, and I can't help but feel like it followed me home. Thank you for listening, my little horrorlings. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe and hit the notification bell to get news about new content and scare away any demons lurking in the shadows. Whatever you do, don't forget to check beneath your bed for monsters. Sweet dreams.